Welcome back, fellow internet adventurers. Get ready for another wild ride through Reddit's strangest stories. We're diving deep into the internet's quirkiest corners. Grab your popcorn and join us on this adventure. Don't forget to hit subscribe and like. Let's get started. Desperation has a peculiar way of shifting one's hobbies. The vandalism of my cherished tulips and roses had become too much to bear. Installing a CCTV camera on the roof seemed like overkill for catching a mere flower thief. Yet there I was, adjusting the lens to cover the picturesque view of my meticulously cared-for garden. The nights rolled on uneventfully until one evening when the motion sensor sent an alert to my phone. Heart pounding, I opened the feed, expecting to see a raccoon or a mischievous cat. Instead, the illuminated night vision revealed our neighbor Tom crouching among the petunias, his hands busy tearing them up by the roots. Confusion clouded my mind as I watched him, but what followed curdled my blood. Tom collected the best of the blooms, approached our front door, and rang the bell. The door opened, and there was Lydia, my wife of 15 years, all smiles as she accepted the flowers with a kiss on Tom's cheek. I replayed the video, my heart sinking with each viewing. How could Lydia, the center of my universe, betray me with such trivial ease? I waited in the darkness of our living room until she came back inside, humming a tune, the tainted flowers in her hand. "Beautiful flowers," I said, stepping into the light. Her startled scream didn't mask the guilt that flashed across her face. "James, you scared me," she stammered, her gaze flicking to the bouquet and then back to me. "Look what Tom brought over. Can you believe he found these at the store at this time of year?" I kept my voice calm, my rage brewing beneath the surface. "I saw him. He didn't buy them, Lydia. He picked them from our garden. I saw it all on camera." The color drained from her face. She tried to speak to explain, but the words seemed to choke her. "Why, Lydia?" I demanded, the room spinning with a torrent of betrayal and confusion. She sobbed, her body heaving with each cry. "I didn't mean for it to happen, James. It just did. I'm so sorry." Sorry wasn't enough, not this time. I spent the night in the guest room, my mind racing with the footage that replayed like a grotesque film festival in my head. By morning, I knew what I had to do. I would not let this deception stand. The following weeks were a blur of calculated moves. I filed for divorce, ensuring the process stripped her of any comfort our marriage had afforded her. I watched as her life unraveled, her pleas for forgiveness mere background noise to my cold resolve. As I signed the final papers, the lawyer handed me back my freedom. Lydia's eyes, swollen from crying, met mine one last time. There was no love left, just the hollow remnant of what had been. I turned away, the chapter of us forever closed. The intrigue of our lives intertwining was severed, setting the stage for what was yet to come. As I walked out, the sky opened up, a fitting metaphor for a new beginning, cleansed by the rain. My resolve was never stronger. The morning sun filtered through the blinds, casting shadows that felt more like chains than comfort. I hadn't seen Lydia since the divorce papers were signed, and the silence in the house echoed her absence. My heart had hardened, yet a part of me longed for closure. But there was no comfort in reaching out. Betrayal had a way of silencing those feelings. I wake up each day, fueling my resolve with reminders of her infidelity. She had taken something precious from me, and now I would make sure she felt the repercussions. My plan was simple yet effective. Expose her and Tom to the neighborhood, unraveling the illusion of their perfect lives. The thought sent a thrill of adrenaline through me. I set up a meeting with a local handyman, a guy named Brian who had done work on my home before. I figured he might know the ins and outs of our neighborhood well. Over coffee, I laid out my plan, careful to keep the details discreet. "Brian, you know that treehouse down the street, the one in Tom's backyard?" I asked, stirring my coffee. "What if we put a little camera up there to capture everything that's happening?" Brian's eyes sparkled with mischief. "You think he's cheating with your wife?" "I'm in. This could be good for the whole neighborhood to see." We spent the next few days gathering equipment, discussing angles, and setting up the operation. Brian took charge of the technical side while I remained focused on the emotional aspect. I wanted to be there when everything came crashing down. Finally, the day arrived. We found ourselves crouched in the treehouse, overlooking Tom's backyard as the sun dipped below the horizon. Brian fiddled with the camera, and I felt a rush of anticipation. "Ready?" he whispered, a glint of excitement in his eyes. "Let's do this," I replied, my heart racing. The camera rolled, capturing every moment as we settled into our spots, the tension crackling like electricity in the air. It didn't take long for Tom to show up, his presence heavy with the weight of my betrayal. Minutes felt like hours as we waited, but then the front door swung open. Lydia stepped out, her hair cascading over her shoulders and a look of mischief in her eyes. She waved at Tom, who appeared from behind the fence, a bouquet of flowers in hand. "Look at this," Brian murmured, leaning closer to the screen. "This is about to get interesting." Tom pulled her close, their laughter echoing through the trees. My gut twisted at the sight. I had thought I was prepared, but witnessing it unfold in front of me ignited a flame of rage deep within. They exchanged stolen kisses, completely oblivious to the world around them. "Look at them," I growled, my fist clenching. "I can't believe she's so shameless." "Stay cool, man," Brian replied, sensing my agitation. "We're getting everything we need." I forced myself to breathe, to focus on the task at hand, but my mind raced, plotting the best way to reveal their betrayal. Suddenly, the pair strolled toward Tom's house hand in hand. I exchanged a glance with Brian, who nodded, urging me to stick with the plan. "Let's head back," I said, trying to rein in my emotions. "We need to edit the footage." As we made our way back to my place, a wave of anxiety washed over me. My plan was set, but what would happen once I unleashed the truth? Would it destroy her entirely, or would she find a way to wiggle out of it? Arriving home, we plopped down in front of the computer. I fast-forwarded through the footage, my heart racing as I watched their unfaithfulness play out in front of me. "Here it is," I said, finally landing on the moment Tom handed her the flowers, kissing her softly. "This is gold. Let's edit it to make it even juicier," Brian suggested, his eyes glinting with mischief. "Get the neighborhood talking." As we trimmed the clips and enhanced the audio, my heart raced. This was it, my chance to expose the deceit. My palms sweat as I envisioned the scene where I would unveil their betrayal to our neighbors, the righteous anger bubbling inside me. "We're ready," Brian said, leaning back in his chair, satisfaction washing over his face. "Now we just wait for the right moment," I replied, my voice steady yet filled with anticipation. The sun set, casting a crimson glow through the window, a perfect reflection of the turmoil inside me. With the footage secured, all I needed was the right opportunity to unleash my wrath upon Lydia and Tom. The wheels of retribution were in motion, and I felt a sense of liberation take hold. The intrigue of their lies had only just begun to unravel, and I was prepared for the fallout. The following days stretched out like a taut rubber band, each moment tinged with anticipation. I was a walking time bomb, every interaction with Lydia or Tom a dance around the truth. I told myself to play it cool, to let the plans simmer beneath the surface, but the urge to confront them burned within me, demanding release. Brian and I finalized our approach, a neighborhood block party scheduled for Saturday. It was the perfect cover. Everyone would be there, and all eyes would be on the newly divorced couple. I couldn't wait to reveal their betrayal. Saturday arrived, bright and bustling. I watched the street transform into a festive scene, tables lined with food, laughter filling the air, and kids running around. I could feel the tension in my chest building as I scanned the crowd for Lydia and Tom. They would show. They couldn't resist the social scene. Around noon, I spotted them. Lydia was radiant, her laughter ringing like a chime, while Tom leaned in too close, whispering something that made her giggle. A wave of nausea washed over me. I glance at Brian, who stands nearby, sensing my agitation. "Remember, wait for the right moment," he advises, his voice low. "We want maximum impact." I nod, but it's hard to focus on anything but the spectacle unfolding before me. As the afternoon wears on, I can feel the eyes of our neighbors on us. Glances exchanged, whispered conversations. People are aware of the tension, but unaware of the truth behind it. Just after lunch, I see my chance. The local news station sets up near the food table, cameras rolling as they interview residents about the event. My heart races. This is the moment I've been waiting for. "Brian, get the video ready. We're going live," I whisper, barely able to contain my excitement. "On it," he replies, moving to the side with his laptop. I approach the news anchor, an old friend named Sarah, who seems pleasantly surprised to see me. "James, great to see you. Are you enjoying the party?" "Actually, Sarah, I think our community might enjoy a different story," I say, trying to keep my voice steady. "Do you mind if I share a little something with your audience?" She raises an eyebrow, intrigued. "What do you have in mind?" I lean close, dropping my voice to a conspiratorial whisper. "I think the neighborhood should know about the new couple in our midst, Tom and Lydia. You know, they have an interesting relationship that might not be as innocent as it appears." "Really? What do you mean?" Sarah asks, her journalistic instincts kicking in. Before I can respond, I see Tom and Lydia strolling toward us, their heads close together, oblivious to the storm brewing around them. I signal to Brian, and he hits play on the video. The sound of Lydia's laughter fades, replaced by the stark reality of their betrayal. As the footage plays, the expressions on Tom and Lydia's faces shift from jovial to shock. They stand frozen, watching their betrayal unfold on screen. "What the hell is this, James?" Tom barks, his face reddening. "You're sick." I step closer, feeling empowered. "Sick? I think you mean deceitful. You think you can steal from my garden and from my marriage without consequences?" Surprise! This is what happens. Lydia's eyes dart between Tom and me, her panic palpable. "James, please. It's not what it looks like. Not what it looks like." I scoff. "You're on video kissing him, Lydia. You think I'd just sit back and let you ruin my life? No. You deserve to be exposed." The crowd around us starts to murmur, curiosity morphing into gossip. Faces turn to watch the spectacle, and I can see the realization dawning on neighbors who once thought of us as the perfect couple. "Shut this off!" Tom yells, stepping toward me. "You're making a fool of yourself." "No, you're the fool here," I reply, standing my ground. "You thought I wouldn't find out? You thought this would stay hidden? You played your hand, and now everyone knows." As the footage ends, I feel a rush of adrenaline. The video's impact hangs heavy in the air. Murmurs grow louder, the tension palpable. I turn to the gathering crowd, who now look at Lydia and Tom with a mix of shock and curiosity. "Take a good look, everyone," I call out. "This is who you're sharing your neighborhood with. Liars and thieves." Lydia's face crumbles, and she shoves past Tom, her shoulders shaking as she tries to flee the scene. But the crowd closes in, a whirlwind of whispers and judgments following her. Tom stands rooted to the spot, eyes ablaze with anger and disbelief. "James, you'll pay for this," he says, fists clenching at his sides. "Do your worst," I say, my voice steady. "You've already lost." As the crowd disperses, I can't help but feel a surge of satisfaction. The thrill of exposing them outweighs the lingering hurt. I've taken back control of my narrative, and I know this is only the beginning. Brian slaps my back, a grin on his face. "That was epic. You got to keep this up." I nod, my heart still racing. This is just the start. They think this ends here? Not a chance. They'll pay for every moment they thought they could fool me. The intrigue continues to grow, and I'm ready for whatever comes next. The block party erupts into chaos as whispers of betrayal ripple through the crowd. Tom and Lydia are cornered, their attempts to escape met with curiosity and judgment from our neighbors. I stand on the periphery, feeling a sense of satisfaction swell within me. This is my moment. They have nowhere to hide. As the crowd disperses, Lydia's frantic pleas for understanding echo in my ears. "James, please. You don't understand," she yells, her voice breaking as she tries to reach me through the throng of people. But I ignore her, my focus locked on Tom, who is trying to reclaim his dignity, desperately spinning a narrative to the onlookers. "What you saw was a misunderstanding," he insists, his voice strained. James is just trying to ruin my life because he can't accept what's happened. Oh, trust me, Tom. I call out, my voice rising above the murmurs. What's happened is that you took everything I cared about and threw it away for some flowers and a fleeting moment of thrill. This isn't a misunderstanding. This is your downfall. Tom's face darkens, a mix of anger and fear washing over him. You think this is over? You think I'm going to let you ruin me? I can see the gears turning in his mind, and it's clear he's formulating a plan to retaliate. But he underestimates the extent of my resolve. I've waited too long to watch my life crumble at the hands of a coward. The rage boiling inside me is ready to explode. You'll regret this, James, he says, stepping closer, trying to intimidate me. But he has no idea how far I'm willing to go. I'm counting on it, I reply, my voice steady, revealing nothing of the storm brewing within me. That night, I lay awake, the weight of my actions pressing down on me. The thrill of exposing them was exhilarating, but now I felt hollow. I can't let this end without making them truly understand the gravity of their betrayal. I decide it's time to take matters into my own hands. Over the next few days, I watch them, my eyes fixed on Tom's house from my own, waiting for the right moment. Their lives continue as if nothing has happened, laughing and holding hands, oblivious to the storm brewing just beyond their picket fence. It makes my blood boil. Finally, the moment arrives. I see them on a Saturday night hosting a gathering. The sounds of laughter and music spill into the night, a stark contrast to my silent resolve. I grab my phone, call Brian, and share my plan. Meet me in an hour, I say, my voice low and steady. It's time to make them pay. When I arrive at Tom's house with Brian, we pull into a nearby alley, hidden from sight. The music and laughter mask our approach. I brought a few items, bottles of lighter fluid and a flare gun, the tools of my revenge. Are you sure about this? Brian asks, hesitating as we watch the party unfold. This could go too far. It's already too far, I reply coldly. They have taken everything from me. Now it's time for them to face the consequences. Brian swallows hard but nods, the thrill of the plan getting to him. We creep closer, slipping into their yard, concealed by the shadows of the trees. Remember, we just need to create a scene, I say, my heart racing. We'll start with the car first. As we approach Tom's sleek SUV parked at the curb, I douse it with lighter fluid, my hands trembling with adrenaline. I can hear the laughter from inside the house, blissfully unaware of the storm brewing outside. Ready? Brian whispers, holding the flare gun, his eyes wide with both excitement and apprehension. Do it, I urge. Let's light this up. Brian pulls the trigger, and the flare shoots out, igniting the fluid in an instant. Flames lick up the side of the SUV, illuminating the night like a beacon of chaos. The roar of the fire consumes the air, and the laughter inside abruptly stops. What the hell? I hear Tom shout from inside. The door swings open, and he stumbles out, his expression shifting from shock to horror as he sees his car engulfed in flames. Call the fire department. Lydia screams, but the panic in her voice is laced with something else, fear. I step back into the shadows, watching as chaos erupts. Tom scrambles for his phone, desperately trying to save what he can, while Lydia stands frozen, her eyes wide with realization. James, she shouts into the night, her voice trembling with dread. What have you done? Just giving you a taste of your own medicine, I call back, stepping out of the shadows. The flames reflect in my eyes, illuminating my face with a fierce glow. You thought you could steal from me and get away with it? No, this is just the beginning. As the fire department arrives, the glow of the flames throws everything into a surreal haze. The scene unfolds like a nightmare, but it feels exhilarating. I watch as they attempt to put out the fire. The chaos is a perfect reflection of my inner turmoil. You're going to regret this, James. Tom yells over the noise, fury igniting in his eyes as he struggles to control the situation. I already regret letting you into my life. I retort, my voice steady. You took everything from me, and now you'll face the consequences. Lydia stares at me, her expression morphing from anger to despair. "James, please, this isn't who you are." "No, Lydia," I say, stepping closer, the fire casting shadows on my face. "This is exactly who I am now. You turned me into this. You wanted to destroy my life? Well, welcome to yours." The fire department works frantically to extinguish the flames, but the damage is done. Tom's car is ruined, and the embers glow in the darkness, a fitting metaphor for the ashes of our former lives. As the night drags on, I realize the truth. This isn't just about revenge. It's about liberation. The fire consumes not just Tom's car, but the remnants of the betrayal that hung heavy in the air for too long. When the flames are finally extinguished and the crowd disperses, I turn to Brian, my heart still racing. "Let's go. We've made our statement." He nods, the thrill of chaos still crackling in the air as we slip away into the night. I can't help but feel a sense of closure wash over me. In the end, the betrayal ignited a fire in me that could never be extinguished. Lydia and Tom may have tried to steal my happiness, but they have only fueled my resolve. Their deception has been revealed, and now we part ways forever, bound by the ashes of what once was. I walk away not just from them, but from the man I used to be, free at last to forge a new path, unencumbered by the weight of betrayal. The finality of our broken bonds feels like a fresh start, a chance to reclaim the life they tried to ruin. And as I disappear into the night, I know one thing for sure. I've taken back my power, and there's no going back. Anyways, goodbye for now, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell.